É uma coisa muito breve. António.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's start our session to finish our work in this beautiful day here in Angra do Heroísmo, in Terceira Island. And to beginning our closing session, we'll start with the signature of the Memorandum of Understanding to establish the chair, the flood Azores chair. Ah, sorry. Okay. Okay.
I know it's important, but...
Yeah. Okay. Let's start with the with the presentation of the conclusions of the work sessions. I will start with the T1 work group, who is the rapporteur of the T1. Joaquin, it's you. Okay, come here. I give you the floor.
Okay. So, thank you very much. I will be very, very short because really the participation during the event was very intense. We start with the presentation of Christoph Skinner in relation with the Saharan dust and climatic change, and especially all the activities that he has and the patterns that he has detected during the last years in terms of intensification of the easterly waves and the tendencies that are increasing with the climatic change. So they were proposing work on that and do joint collaboration in that because this is going to affect very heavily to the Atlantic area, not in terms also in the terms of heavy waves or hot in different areas, but also the transport of particulate matter and the impact on the biochemical cycles and so on. So I think that this is a very interesting work that can be done together, taking into account the capabilities for sampling and for modeling from both the research centers in the eastern part and the UMass. Then also in relation with the modeling, another potential collaboration was presented by Fran Colby in relation with forecasting, especially forecasting tracks of hurricanes, and also the use of models in order to improve the resolution of these things, especially in the Azores area, also taking into account the potential effects of these events in terms of flooding and also the impact that they can produce. So I think that in here also there is a very interesting synergies in relation with the gathering of new data that could be provided here and the potential of research centers here and UMass in order to improve the resolution of those models. So later on also we were talking about multi-agent system applied to fishing activities. The presentation was presented by Jose Cascaño from the University of Azores, and this also was a very interesting discussion after that, because these multi-agent models involve the different kind of stakeholders that could be involved. Also the behavior of, for example, fishermen, or the behavior of the stocks in the systems. So in here we were discussing about the particularities of the Azores in relation with especially with the fisheries, with the ports, and how to involve that in these models, and the different complexities in order to do that. Also, we were talking about the possibility that the University of the UMass have in relation with the students, that they can have some kind of grants of 4,000 in order to do some research on that for their masters. So part of these could, some targets could be focused on this kind of activity. So I think that that is also important to have into account. Also, later on, Lorenzo from CEIAR have presented the capabilities of CEIAR, the potential that they have in terms of drones and main vehicles, also the potential in order to develop joint capabilities in relation with satellites, with the small satellites, and what could happen in the short term. I think that there is capabilities also in both research centers here in Azores and in UMass in order to launch one of these vehicles in the next years. So later on, Eduardo Brito Acevedo from Terceira has presented also the capabilities of the group, the activity that is done in terms of high resolution models, and also the capabilities that they have in order to get sampling, local sampling here, and involve these data into the general models in order to improve the capabilities for forecasting, weather forecasting in the Azores, including also floods. Also, Paolo Antunes has from Critical Materials has presented their enterprise, the applications that they have, the new materials they use for critical application, both in issues related with satellites or with renewable energies and so on. And also finally, Xavier Martin from DST Group Telecom has also presented the cable capabilities and also the new activities that are going to be done in relation with that. And finally, Eduardo Pereira from EVS and University of Minho, they have presented the bio-sustainability activities that they are doing and the capabilities that they have. So I think that there was a very long session, a lot of discussion, a lot of possibilities of the cooperation and integration. And this just is a very, very brief summary, but I think that there is a lot of possibilities to cooperation that we have to go in deeper detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Joaquin. I call Antonio to make the conclusion of T2.
Okay. This will be much easier because I will have here kind of a slide that was approved by everybody. So it was not a formal approval, but no one complained. So I think the people enjoyed. So we were a group of 19, 9 from academia, 3 from public institutions, and 7 companies. The majority of companies from here, from Azores zone, and companies related with IT. Really, there was 2 or 3 main ideas, one resulting from data that is generated in Azores, environment data, for instance, the PICO observation station, or also from biodiversity groups that or a biodiversity group that works here in Azores. And so these are potential areas, of course, on top of this using data science and eventually artificial intelligence. There are some possibilities to combine this with nanotech or microelectronic sensors, namely using technologies that are used by INL and the International Nanotechnology Institute. Really, it seems the focus or the potential areas maybe what we called for mesoscale approaches, combining so different levels of different sources, but data coming from different sources that has different precision and necessity for different treatments. And always the objective is, the main objective or the meta objective is what we can do with this data. And this data, in fact, among other possibilities, should be used for making decisions, for making better decisions, and so the development of tools for support decision making, namely integrating different type of data, including, for instance, environment, social, and economic. The other area is more business oriented and was the result mainly of the companies involved. Different companies, including in different areas, in services and including health. Here there are, of course, different approaches, but data science and artificial intelligence, no matter if this used with the cloud applications or not, but there are here room for joint projects. Of course, behind this there are some possibilities of capacities to be used, both in Portugal and at UMass, and one is supercomputing capacity that is now being available, and at UMass, and our colleague Haim stated or presented or in some way shared with us his experience and interest in using with these applications virtual and augmented reality, visualization on computer graphics, so this could be a source of also a technology to be used. So this can be areas for joint projects in terms of in this area, ideally combining. Of course, we have here a challenge is to try to merge the two communities, the business and the people that are more on the academic side and providing data. Okay, this is of course a challenge. But one very interesting thing is perhaps. And is not, of course, it could be expected, but is that really it was identified that an important area of collaboration should be education, capacitation, because IT, artificial intelligence, and data science and data analytics are, of course, in Portugal, in Europe, an area that we miss capacitation, and we need to do that at different levels, including at postgrad level, and so we launched the idea of having eventually some joint degrees or at least some cooperation also at education level. Okay, so this is our synthesis. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We had also a very lively session. We had, I think, about 15 presentations, 15 or 16 presentations. There were people from academia, from government, from funding agencies, and also from industry. So it was very lively. But it was a very diverse also presentation. So the presentation ranged from fiber to water quality, environment, biodiversity, and so it was really robotics, and it was very varied, and so we had, again, a very good discussion. What you can see from all of this is that there's a lot of interest, I think, for collaboration between the two institutions. And I think there's a lot of potential because people are present here from UMass Law, or people who are not also present, who I think would have found some interaction, some of the things that have been presented today in our room, and probably in the others, also interesting, and potentially we can do something along those lines. The second thing, I think, then after that, so everybody stuck to the 5 minutes limit. Thank you so much. And after that, we had time, we decided to discuss what do we do next? Because I think if we don't do something and we don't decide what to do, these collaborations have a tendency to take natural death if you don't decide what to do. And we try to focus on what are, at least one theme that we would like to focus on and would like to talk about. And this theme does not mean it's a single theme that we're going to work on. It's within a vision that we, I think, agree on. There's a vision that between the two institutions, there'll be many things to do, but we've got to start somewhere. So, the Azores are somewhere in the middle between the United States and Portugal. Right there, so we see that almost like a hub for us to actually study the Atlantic. So that's, I think, is one vision, maybe is shared by the people who were there, maybe it's not, I'm not sure, but I'll take, just like Antonio said, I assume it was. And so we talked about the environment, we talked about food security, we talked about innovation, we talked about, even energy, which is very important also. But we decided that we're going to focus, at least try to focus on at least one project, one or two projects. And the project, I think there's a commonality, is on water quality, water the fresh water combining with salt water, the effects of the water on the environment, on sustainability of the island, all of these issues that are really, really big and we think are common and actually to almost, it's a common thread between everybody. So with that, I think with coming out of there, that water is one aspect that we're going to work on, and it's again its impact on the environment. We might also go into deep ocean. There was talk about mercury in the deep ocean as well. We haven't gone to those details, but I think we have a focus point, which is water, and we hope that now that would be something that we will get down to and a project so that we can work on something like that. The other thing we discussed is briefly, because we don't have time to finish, that maybe one way to actually get these connections to have a life into it is to have a joint PhD student between somebody who's co-sponsored or co-advised by somebody at UMass Lowell and somebody from the universities here. And if we manage to do that, I think we have somebody who is a baby between two, in a marriage almost, like between two institutions, and I think that will be a wonderful thing. I think that's what we talked about, and that's what the conclusion came to, I think, and if anybody was there wants to add something or we want to say, I think that would be good. But that's what we came to. Thank you so much.
Okay, now we will have the signature of the Memorandum of Understanding. We will start with the memo of the flood Azores chairs. I will ask to Elsa. It's the Vice President of Flood. It's here with us. To explain, I don't know if you want to explain something about the chairs. Feel free to do that if you want it.
Yes, thank you. No, not working. Okay, maybe I can you hear me? Yes. I'm used to speak in classes, so it will be not difficult for you to hear me. As Bruno Pacheco was saying, we are going to sign a memorandum of understanding involving the support for 3 shares at University of Açores, which that are going to be supported for the next 3 years for invited professors to be contracted and work at University of Açores and be allowed to doing research within the areas of in the Atlantic interactions, in the agenda of the Atlantic interactions. We are talking about more or less the same areas that we were discussing during the afternoon. We are talking about digital transformation. We are talking about innovation and sustainable development. We are talking about interactions in Atlantic and space. Those shares are financed are co-financed. So we arrange here a project in which Flood is getting involved, but together with the National Science Foundation, FCT, and the government of Açores through FRCT, so the Regional Fund for Science and Technology. So it's difficult for me to remember the letters. It's important because I think that's an initiative that you never know what the result will be, but we are going the University of Açores is going to contract these young researchers, I hope, young researchers, and young and good, that can somehow integrate later the normal tenure position a normal tenure position in the University of Açores. Of course, it depends. It needs to be again evaluated, but hopefully it's not only for 3 years, it's for a long time. And it's going to help to give some robustness, I would say, to the relationship between University of Açores and the Air Center and the different initiatives that are taking place here at Açores related with Atlantic interactions and space. What can I say more? It's an international. You are going to look for the applicants in the international domain. So it's why not to come here? The guy that can come here for that position, for those 3 positions, because we are talking about 3 shares, can come from United States. Why not? Or from the Portugal in Azores or in mainland. Who cares? The only thing is willing to work in interaction, because there's another characteristics of those shares that is very, very, very important from my point of view, which is those persons that are going to be contracted are going to work here to stay in Açores for a semester, giving classes, doing research, whatever. They are professors at University of Açores, so they need to do what the other professors do. And the other semester, at least for 4 months, it needs to go to UMass and be there doing research in the project and with the professors and the researchers at UMass that are more relevant and more interactive with the subject of the research, and at any university in Portugal, besides University of Azores, because the professor is a professor of University of Azores. So he can go also to University of Porto and University of Lisbon or to UMass. He needs to select and according to the research plan that is willing to engage. Okay? I don't know if I forget something. Vlad is happy. I'm happy too, because that's an initiative. This is an initiative that I fight for. It's not always easy because it involves different entities. And of course, it's a significant investment of flood for the next 3 years. Okay? I don't know if someone wants to join something.
Okay, this memorandum of understanding will be signed by FLAT through Elsa Henriques, by University of the Azores through his rector João Luís Gaspar, through FCT by his Vice President José Paulo Esperança, and by the Mr. Secretary of Sea Science and Technology. Sorry. No, Guimarães.
Those are lots of protocols, because those are 3 shares and 4 entities signing it. So don't be surprised. It's like that.
I think we think that today it's a good day to the Azores, and specifically to the University of the Azores and to our community. I hope this is the beginning of a new era. There are a lot of papers to sign, but it's a easy job.
Yeah, that's the easiest part.
It's an easy job to sign.
This is good.
The difficulty is before that. We are almost at the end. It's the last one, but not the least. Not the least because, as you know, we have 3 memorandums to sign. The last one will be signed after the dinner, or through the or during the dinner. At that time, we'll have the presence of the minister that will arrive in few hours. And but to end this ceremony, we'll sign another memorandum, a memorandum between the regional government of the Azores, the University of Massachusetts at Lowell, and the Portuguese Foundation for Science and Technology. This memorandum have few objectives, but the main one is to establish a joint initiative between Portugal and UMass at Lowell, and through that began I hope, a lot of projects and initiatives. I will ask to José Paulo Esperança to. You are ordering the papers. Let me. We have here. No, we have. I will ask to sign the 3-1. I will ask to sign another 3, and Vice Rector. You have to sign. You have to sign. FCT, UMass, and Regional Government of above. Okay, it's another. Correct.
Above, right? Yeah. Okay. So she's supposed to start.
Yeah, sorry, Jean Paul is another one. It's the other vice president.
Is the president? Okay.
Ok.
Muita folha.
É? É isso que eu vou fazer. Eu vou imprimir e depois eu deixo tudo guardo. Deixa eu tudo guardo. E vocês por assim não acabam falando. Okay, we are going fast to the end of the ceremony, and to end, I will ask for Els Henriques, in the name of FLAT, to say some words to close this ceremony, and then I will pass the word and the floor to our Vice Rector of UMass at Lowell, then to our Rector of University of the Azores, and to close to our Secretary.
Thank you, Bruno, but I don't have nothing more to say. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to see so many people join together to discuss new initiatives here at Açores connected with the science and technology, which is my area. Connected also with companies and startups, and understanding that the value of science and technology to the diplomacy between our two countries, to understand the interactions between universities, between people, and to recognize the value of Açores as a bridge between Portugal and the United States. FLAD is happy to be a part of that process, maybe a small part, a small role. I believe that the important role is of the students, of the professors, of the ones that are going to make it happen. But I'm glad FLAD can contribute at least with the support, the financial support to make it easier. Okay, thank you.
Okay, very well. Let me correct the order. I will pass the word to our Vice Rector of UMass at Lowell.
All right. Thank you, Bruno. So, wonderful remarks. I think I will just briefly add thank you to all of you who spent your time and good energy today to have these discussions, and thank you in advance, because I believe many of you will be involved in pursuing the ideas that were generated today and in the past. So it is important, as I said before, we're not the ones that are going to be moving this forward. We can help make the path easier, but ultimately it will be all of you that make this a success. So I look forward to this being a continued expansion of the partnership between UMass Lowell and Portugal, and specifically within the Azores.
Now, Jean-Paul, want to say something?
Just a brief note to add on what has been said here, and just to mention that you have seen all the difficulty with signing all of these, but it was even worse. There were hundreds of emails and messages, always nice, always with some some add-on, but I do believe sincerely that the three professorships that are being signed here will act as catalysts of this cooperation. They will be a very important tool to organize all this community, because it's not only between UMass Lowell and the University of the Azores, is also with all the community, and the discussions we had these three discussions were very, very rich. Indeed, there is a lot of potential for bringing together all the community, which is not very, very wide. Portugal is not as big as the United States, but indeed it's very important to have all these people put together. And I think there is another important aspect that will be very important. When we think of commercialization, of bringing science and the developments that we make to the community, we have two basic difficulties. One is financial. And the other one is about knowing how to do it. And indeed, I think that the cooperation of the community from the business community, not only the Portuguese business community, but the community at large in Boston, can help immensely. It's also a good opportunity for them to invest here. So I think that this model that has been designed with a cooperation with the University of Lowell and the cooperation and the three professorships will really help us glue and build the future relationship. And we must start thinking of the alumni of this program and about their achievements. Thank you.
Now, I give the floor to João Luís Gaspar, our rector of University of the Azores.
Vou passar por cima do protocolo, uma vez que ninguém tem estado a seguir o protocolo. I'd like to thank, first of all, the organization of this event. which, according to the closing remarks, was a successful event and has already some results. And the first result, I think, is the memorandum of understanding that we just finished to sign. So it is also time to thank FLOOD for the opportunity to coordinate all this process, but also FCT and the regional government to the fact that they will, as it has been already said, they will promote the beginning of new projects based on the recruitment of new researchers that we would like to invite to be at the Azores University, but of course in straight cooperation with other universities. And I would also like to emphasize the opportunity that UMass Lowell give to the University of the Azores to be partner in some of such projects. I would like to finish saying that the Azores University is open for cooperations, not only taking into account what we signed, but also ideas, projects that I'm sure started today, because now you know each other. The conclusions of a workshop like this are important, but more important are always the contacts. So now we start knowing each other, and so the doors of the Azores University are open for future projects. So be welcome, and if you pass in São Miguel Island during this day, please be free. We are very glad to receive you at São Miguel Island Azores University. Thank you.
Are you listening to me? Okay. Well, to be the last one is easier because all the colleagues in the table already said everything. So it's much easier to me. I would like to start only to say that regarding the last news we are listening every day, and I remember a last article I read recently. I think humanity is confronted with a lot of challenges in the future, mainly in terms of sustainability, in terms of climate change, in terms of, sorry, Mark, plastics out on the ocean. And I sincerely believe that only the scientific and technological advances will be the solution, at least for some of the answers we need to give to the society. Scientific and technological advances only, I believe in this, only can be achieved with partnerships. We can't do science nowadays and the technological advance if we don't work with other teams, if we don't exchange ideas, if we don't cooperate on this. So this event was a beginning of something, I believe, something important for us, for the Azores, for our region, for our development, I believe. And I hope that with this event, something important will arrive, I'm sure, in the future. In that article, I was impressed because it was very, very well written. And the guy that wrote that, it was in a newspaper, international newspaper, I don't know if The Guardian or something like that. He was my age. The guy is my age. I have 52. And the guy describes the changes that exists since we born in 20. I'm a little bit old now, but a lot of changes. And the guy describes that and that and that, and it was impressive. And it's very interesting. Some of the terms that are arriving as the humans create the technosphere, and he talk about that. And we are actually in the Anthropocene era. And this is a good news for Mark, probably. The guys that decides the eras, the Miocene, the Pleistocene, etc., they are now discussing a new era, the Anthropocene, and we need some things to mark these eras. I know that João is a geologist, but I was impressed because a colleague of mine said that the characterization of Anthropocene, I'm surprised with that, will be the plastic, because the plastic will be a mark that will be found everywhere, and the next generations, when they want to characterize this era, the Anthropocene, will be one of the things will be the plastic, probably. This is something surprising for me. Well, I will finish. I hope you enjoy the meeting as I did. I have the opportunity to assist to one of the sessions and to participate on that, and I see much enthusiasm on the discussions and many possible pathways to follow this and to force these partnerships for the future. I think what we need now, this is papers only. We need, of course, concrete steps and your enthusiasms for the future to accomplish the goals we intend to proceed. I was very happy also with the participation of the University of the Azores and the Azorean companies on this event. I think that this will be something important for the university. Well, that's it. I only will say that this was a long day of working. I know that you should be tired. I hope you have opportunity to see a little bit of the city of Angra, which is a world heritage. It's a beautiful town, and I hope you have an opportunity to take a walk, at least before the dinner that will be at 8 o'clock in Caixdenga. 8:30, okay. Finally, I also want to thanks to all the participants, of course, and to also the organization, especially to Antonio, to Duarte, to UMass, to FCT, and to all that participates on this organization. I hope that we have a good project in front and good cooperation, scientific and also personal, because this is very important too, personal partnerships. And thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the city.